Bar here, your neighborhood Lebenskunstler. So now we're going to talk about how I took the family around the Cappadocia area. This is going to be the dad's nuts and bolts thing again, kind of like the balloon thing. So if you're watching this and your dad's taking you to Cappadocia, send a video because this is what we're doing. There's a lot of videos of, look, we did all this, but this is what we're doing here. The dad's version of how to get everything done. So when you get to the main city of Gölüm, I'm probably going to pronounce everything incorrectly, but I don't speak Turkish. I should, because we spend a lot of time there. So there's a lot of cafes and stuff like that, and it looks like freaking Mars. I mean, it's so beautiful. Like when you're sitting up on a terrace having dinner or lunch or whatever, and you look out, you see all the ferry columns and all that kind of stuff. Super freaking pretty. And I would recommend, if possible, getting a hotel that has a balloon view, but you're gonna have to get the kids up super early because they do that at like sunrise, like we talked in the last video. And there's another place if you can't, then there's another place where there's like a plateau. It's just right out of the little Gölüm village right there, where they have it's probably like a 5-minute drive and then another 5-10 minute walk like up to the hill where you can see all the balloons there also and take pictures and stuff like that. So the way we did it, when we flew into ASR. There's another airport. I can't speak on it because we weren't there. So ASR doesn't have internet, or not that we could find. But so when we rented the car, so there's Hertz and Budget and all of the other rental car agencies. It's basically like Western prices. When we were in Istanbul, we found a company that would meet us at the airport with the cars. Way cheaper than getting transportation from the airport to, Gölüm and then back. We could just rent a car for cheaper, but you have to put the fuel in it. So fuel is about €1 per liter, and they give it to you empty. We found the same thing in Albania also, which, if you're used to the West, they always have the car topped off. So, but there's gas stations like in Turkey, just like there's gas stations anywhere else, of course. But they do it a little bit differently. And the first time we were trying to get fuel, we were a little confused because you park at the pump, they don't let you pump your own gas. Why? I don't know. So there's an attendant there that pumps it. So they ask you how many liters you want. They give you a receipt. You bring the receipt inside, and then they give you a ticket, and then you bring the ticket inside, pay for it, then you bring the receipt back outside, and then the attendant pumps the fuel. It seems like that's a couple extra steps that you don't need, but that's the way they do it. Yeah, so just so you know. And the next part, so driving around the Cappadocia area, super good. I think the fastest we went was 90 kilometers an hour. If you see a round sign with a number in it, that's speed limit. And it goes, sometimes the roads go from 70 to 50 to 30, back to 50, back to 70, then back to 50. Why they do it like that, I don't know. But there's a lot of signs. It's very well signed. And also when you're looking for your hotel, look for one that has a generator, or like battery backup or something like that, because there's power outages fairly frequently. When we were there, there was a blackout for, I think, 6 hours. Everything was fine. We just went about our way. Then when we got back to the hotel, the power was back on. So, and they were working on the generator, but you hear generators all over the city. So look for that. This is the nuts and bolts edition, So the way we did our trip, since we had our own car already, is we went to the concierge and got some of the pamphlets and stuff like that, that had like the green trip and a red trip and all that kind of stuff. And we looked at it and we asked concierge, okay, so like what time does this one leave? Because, you can take a private tour, or you can be on a big bus and get herded around like cattle, or take like, you can also rent cars in Cappadocia, like in the little Galome area, like these old classic cars they have in their convertibles. Probably don't have AC, but we had a rental, from the place by the airport. So we mapped out our own little trip. Boom, like that, right? And so if they're leaving at 8, then we left at 7. And then you're there before all of the tour buses get there, which is pretty convenient because you kind of get your own little private tour. So we drove up to the User Castle. And also, when you're driving around with kids, if they need to go to the bathroom, just Google, like, where's the nearest mosque? Every mosque has a bathroom because, before people pray, they have to clean, clean, clean. And sometimes they have a little, when you go in, they'll let you in. It's no problem. And they have like a little basket there where you can put a couple liras. So keep some extra like lira coins like with you. And that goes to the bathroom attendant and stuff like that. But moving on. So we drove up to the Ursur Castle. To get in there, it's, I think, per person, it's with the lira exchange, it's probably like less than €1. They have a little, like people that, like a little people that sell water and stuff like that. Bring some water with you, because when you're walking up, it doesn't look like it's that high, but it's a lot of walking. And you can go through and see like where they carved out all these like rooms and bathrooms and kitchens and everything out of the rock. I don't know what they would do with the extra rock. I guess they threw it off the side. I don't know. But you can walk all through there, and then we got up to the top right as they were doing a call for prayer, which you're going to have to organize that perfectly. But right when we were getting to the top, they had a call for prayer, and they have a giant Turkish flag there that it made for pretty good pictures and stuff like that. So then from there, we went to the Cozumel underground city. They have 2 underground cities. If you go to one, you go to the next one. It's fine. You don't have to go to both. But it's really cool also. We don't have a whole lot of pictures of this because they have the girls in them, and the girls don't want to be on the YouTube videos. But there's like 6 layers going underground. So there it was probably €14 a person, something like that, 14, €15 a person. We found a guide just outside, people like, saying, hey, I'm a guide. And we did hire a guide to do that tour, and I think we paid her another €100 or something like that to take us all around. But it was very helpful because if you're just walking around through there, for one, you don't know where you're really going, and for 2, how to get back out, and for 3, you don't really know what you're looking at. So it was helpful to get a guide. There's probably better ways to do that. That's just the way we did it. From there, we went to the Serrana Caravanserai, and this is probably actually my favorite part. The thing was built in 1250, and it was kind of shook by some earthquakes, but they fixed it and restored it how it should have been. That was super cheap, free parking, and it was like €1 per person, something like that. Now they do have little packages where you can watch. You can go. We didn't go at that time, but you can go like later, and they have the Duresh guys with the white kind of gowns like that do the spinning. the spinning dancing kind of thing, because they have a place for that there. We did that in Istanbul, and we all fell asleep because the way they have the music, it's like so relaxing. And we did a lot of walking in Istanbul. So we didn't do it in Cappadocia. So you see the front door, it's super cool. And then in the middle, they have the place where they did the bazaar, because the Cappadocia is where the travelers used to come, like over the Silk Road kind of thing, with all the animals and the camels and the horses and everything. And then it was like a hotel, and they would pull in, take all of their stuff that they were bringing from here to there, sell it at the bazaar, park the animals in the area for the animals, in the stalls that they had there. And then they had the hall in the back where they could watch the shows and entertainment and stuff like that. And then they had the little hotel rooms. So now the hotel rooms that they have set up in the Cappadocia that's here in Cappadocia, when you see the Instagram models and they have all of the Turkish lamps like this. Turkish lamps all hanging from the ceiling, that's there. That's where you go. So then your teenage Instagram model can take all of her pictures there. And if you try to do it in Istanbul, they get really pissed. But in Cappadocia, that's what it's there for. And we got there early, so my daughter could take all the pictures that she wanted. And then by the time we were leaving is when a bus was coming, and then it was a line, So we got out of there. So next, I don't know, it was like the next day, we went to the Red and Rose Valley. Free parking, because we just Google mapped it and just got close and just parked. I don't know if we were supposed to park there or not, but that's what we did. And then we just walked and just followed Google Maps. We ended up like walking through a fruit grove that was owned by somebody that was currently picking a fruit. They're used to it. I would say Turkey, if there's one thing they're used to, it's travelers. They've been doing this for a very, very, very long time. But so if you have little kids, like bigger than you can like put in a backpack or something, but smaller than they can really get on their own, because there is one part that you have to like take a rope, and I'll put a picture of that, and then I'll put a picture from the top also, because it is a little hectic. We ended up getting the guide once we got to the top for free. And that's him. So, and he was actually showing us how to get up and down this very difficult part of hiking. So remember to bring the right shoes, because it is hiking, of course, And then from there we went to the Illyrian Valley, which was probably like a 2-hour drive from the Golom kind of area, It's all the way down kind of by the Syrian border. I get back and I'm telling my coworkers, I took the kids down to the Syrian border. Everything is fine. There's no stress over there. But it's kind of like the Turkish Grand Canyon. And that is about 15 euros a piece. We thought it was a little bit high. But what you want to do is so there's 2 entrances, and it's 15 kilometers long, right? And so you want to be on the entrance that is the outdoor museum side. You don't want to be on the other side, because the other side, it doesn't really have a lot of stuff going on. It is what it is. So the outdoor museum side, you have like the dark church, which isn't an evil church. It's just dark because there's no lights. All carved out of caves, right? And they have some little houses that you can kind of walk through, and then they have some examples of like houses with like doors, like so you can kind of see how they used to live like back in the Byzantine times, Super cool. Not ADA compliant. So also wear very good shoes. Bring water, because so in the middle of it, so 7 kilometers or so, there is like a little kind of rest stop kind of thing, and they have like a little creek, and they have some little tents set up, and very cute wait staff. I'll put it right here. And so I was asking the people that work there, I was like, well, how do you get, like, because now I'm already walked 7.5 kilometers. I'm done. I'm ready to go home. And I thought there was like a stairway or something like there in the middle. I said, no. I was like, well, how do you get all these refrigerators and all this soda and all this kind of stuff here? He's like, so he brought me over, because I guess it was kind of a language barrier of some part. He had like this big wooden cart. And he was like, this is how we bring everything here. I was like, we had problems walking there just with our feet, because there's like wooden bridges, and like you're walking over like fallen limbs and stuff like that, and you brought everything here on a cart. He goes, yeah. Okay. And he told me, he's like, where's your car at? I was like, it's back, towards the outdoor museum kind of place. He's like, go back there. I was like, well, we're going to finish the trail. He told me there's nothing out there. Like, there's no more outdoor museum stuff when you keep going. And the taxi is going to charge you a lot of money. So we took his advice, which I'm going to give you the same advice. We turned around, walked back the same way, got back to our car, zoom, back to Cologne. So the last thing we did was the Turkish Nights, which I would definitely recommend. Super cool. Super cool for everybody. And so you'll see some stuff online that's like the Turkish Nights is like 50 euros, 100 euros a person. Like, some of these tickets are like a lot of money. We found somebody like just on the street, because I got 4 people I'm paying for. I'm not paying 400 euros to bring my kids to Turkish Nights. I wanted to go, but we found somebody that was selling tickets for like 20 euros a piece. And they told us that it didn't come with the food. When we got there, free parking also. And that's, in the Turkish Nights thing is probably a 10-minute drive from Cologne. No stress. And when we got there, it wasn't so busy, and they let us get the food. And they do audience participation. So you can go and dance with the girls, and they have guys that dance also. And you can go in a circle. I didn't embarrass myself with that, because no one wants to see me dancing. But anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. That's our travels around Cappadocia, the area. And the next time we're gonna see us is back in Istanbul. And we're gonna do a little how-to guide to travel around there also. Okay, bis dann, bis bald, raus.